Right. We are live.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Namo Buddhaya. A very warm welcome to Dhamma friends in many locations. Today, we resume the Sutta Studies Series led by Venerable Bhante Sumita of Dhamma USA. He will discuss the Sammādiṭṭhi Sutta, which is the 9th Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya. This Sammādiṭṭhi Sutta, or right view, is taught by Venerable Sariputta, one of the two chief disciples of the Buddha. Venerable Sariputta, sometimes referred to as the marshal or general of the Dhamma, was considered to be second to the Buddha in terms of his understanding of the Dhamma. It will be a very interesting discussion. I would now like to invite Bhante Sumita to start the class. Bhante.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened one. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello everyone, welcome to our Sutta Study Series, and we have been discussing Majjhima Nikaya so far from the beginning, and today we are going to start a very important sutta called Sammādiṭṭhi Sutta. Sammādiṭṭhi Sutta is so important for us, because Sammādiṭṭhi Sutta also gives us a beautiful explanation about how we should continue with our, how we should start actually. Everything starts with the right view. So, right view is the key to our spiritual path. And if you don't have the right view, the whole destination will be completely different. So it's really important that we follow the right view and we understand what is right view. And I think most of you have heard about right view or Sammādiṭṭhi in Noble Eightfold Path. According to Noble Eightfold Path, right view, it is also explained in Satya Vibhanga Sutta a little bit more. We do have Dhamma Cakkappavattana Sutta, the first discourse of the Buddha, and that is a very precise presentation of some these Four Noble Truths, under which we also have Sammādiṭṭhi as the first step of Noble Eightfold Path. And Venerable Sariputta in another sutta called Satya Vibhanga Sutta beautifully explain in detail all those Four Noble Truths, and each and every one of those items in the Four Noble Truths and Noble Eightfold Path, you can find it in detail. That's really a very important sutta. I highly recommend. I have a Dhamma talk on this actually that I have done before, and Anupubbi Katang, you can have a look at that sutta there later on when you have time. And so maybe, yeah, we can, Monica, if you can share the link in the YouTube channel, maybe people can have a look at that also. All right, and then in this Sammādiṭṭhi Sutta also is very important because that was also um, recited or preached by Venerable Sariputta. Venerable Sariputta is the chief high command in the Buddha's order. After the Buddha, Venerable Sariputta is the most important person in the Buddha Sasana. Venerable Sariputta is so important because he is the wisest among all the Mahasangha members, just next to the Buddha. And then also Venerable Sariputta is important because Venerable Sariputta has the capacity to explain things in detail. The Buddha in many suttas has appreciated Venerable Sariputta's this amazing capacity, and Buddha has also assigned Venerable Sariputta from time to time to go ahead and lead the sutta discussion later on. So it's really important. And in this particular sutta, Sammādiṭṭhi is explained. And as you know, Noble Eightfold Path can also be categorized into three, like Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila is the very foundation of our spiritual path, and then Samadhi is the next, and then Panya is the next. So when you have bodily and verbally restraint or sila, that actually is helpful for someone to go ahead and do the practice of samadhi, the mental restraint. So verbal, bodily, and mental restraint would lead us to the panya. When we are fully calmed down, when we are fully settled in all these three sense doors, body, mind, and verbal, these things actually can help us so much in working with our spiritual path. And in the Four Noble Eightfold Path, interestingly, starts with the right view, and that is a part of Panya. Sammādiṭṭhi and Sankappa are part of Panya. So that's again very interesting. Why not Sila, those Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva is not given at the first place, but why Sammādiṭṭhi is given, treated in the Noble Eightfold Path? It is also because without right view, everything else can go wrong. So Sammādiṭṭhi, very important. Plus, all these Noble Eightfold Paths, those links are interconnected too. They are not separated. They are not segregated from each other. So it's important to have all of them mutually helpful to each other. An introduction to that. So Venerable Sariputta's importance, and I have also discussed about Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana in the other Anupupi Katang discussion. Please someone share it in the YouTube channel so they can also have a look. And so it will be useful, very useful to find out the importance of these wonderful monks, Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Mahamoggallana. The Buddha says, Venerable Sariputta is like a mother. Venerable Mahamoggallana is like a father. Sariputto bhikkhave sotapatti phale vineti. Venerable Sariputta establishes someone in the sotapatti or the stream enter stage. Moggallana bhikkhave uttamatte vineti. Venerable Moggallana establishes others in the in the Arahanta path. So the most important thing actually is the Sotapatti. If you have attained Sotapatti, you are granted of your final destination. You are granted that you will never ever be born in the hell realm, apayas. And you are granted that within maximum 7 births, you will be enlightened. Sattakhattu Parama, they are called Sattakhattu Parama. So in our samsara, we have been traversing millions and millions of births, life after life after life, and we are still not figuring out the way out of it. And only if you have the chance to attain Sotapatti, you are granted within maximum 7 births, you will be able to achieve Arahanthood. So it's very, very important among all the other attainments. Sotapatti is one of the most important stages. If someone can attain Sotapatti, this is the one we all should try. We all should try to attain Sotapatti. So for that, Sammādiṭṭhi again plays a very, very major role. If you have Micchādiṭṭhi, if you have wrong view, your journey can be completely wrong, completely off the track, out of the way. So this sutta gives a series of topics. What is Sammādiṭṭhi? In the Sammādiṭṭhi Sutta explanation in Venerable Bhikkhu Thanissaro and so Bhikkhu Bodhi and Jnanamoli Theras, we have one, the wholesome and unwholesome. So wholesome and unwholesome, that is the number one Sammādiṭṭhi topic. And then we talk about nutriment. So I will discuss in detail. And then we have the Four Noble Truths. Sammādiṭṭhi, again on Four Noble Truths. And then the aging and death. And then the birth. And then the being, clinging, craving, and feeling, and contact, sixfold base, mentality, materiality, and consciousness, formations, ignorance, and taints. This is the last one. So all these topics are discussed here as Sammādiṭṭhi. So I think it will be very useful for you to know what is Sammādiṭṭhi. Venerable Sariputta expands the discussion to the two concepts that underlies the structure of the Four Noble Truths. So these all topics are connected to Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering, the truth of the truth of the cause of suffering, and then the truth of the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. These are all really very, very useful ways for you to get to know this one. I will discuss in detail about this soon. So what happened in the sutta? The sutta, Evang Me Sutang, this is the traditional way of starting most of the suttas in the Tipitaka, especially the Sutta Pitaka. Many suttas start with this, not necessarily all though. Let's say for sure, Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, we have all the suttas start with Evang Me Sutang, thus have I heard. Ekang samayam bhagava savatthayang viharati jetavane anatha pindikassa arame. They are the venerables, the blessed one on one occasion lives in the Savatthi, Jetavana monastery, Anathapindikas monastery. Tatrako ayasma sariputto bhikkhu amantesi also bhikkhavoti. Now, the whole assembly of monks are there. Actually, they have come to listen to Venerable Sariputta's Dhamma talk. They have come from far away places to listen to Venerable Sariputta's Dhamma talk. And in this, Venerable Sariputta addresses the large assembly of monks. Ausotikote bhikkhu ayasmato Sariputta sapaccha sosong. Those venerable monks also replied to the Venerable Sariputta as friend or auso. I don't know if that is actually the very correct translation. Like when you say also, that also like a friend maybe, and ayasma also can be used to address when you have like sabrahmachari or your colleagues in your spiritual path. You can call them too. Yeah, maybe in that way the translation can be taken as friend too. Okay, let's take it for now. Also, and then Venerable Sariputta, ayasma Sariputto etadavocha, Venerable Sariputta etang avocha, Venerable Sariputta said this. Sammādiṭṭhi Sammādiṭṭhi also Sammādiṭṭhi also uchate. So people say, friends, people say Sammādiṭṭhi, right view. What is this right view? Kittavatānuko also Arya Savako Sammādiṭṭhi hoti. So in what way is a noble disciple one of right view? And like how do we find the right way? What is some right view? What is Sammādiṭṭhi? Ujugata gata asa ditti. Ujugata means, uju means straight. So how can someone straighten one's ditti or view? So all of you have maybe having these problems all the time. So if you have any question, please please comment on the YouTube or in the Zoom, so we can someone can okay, I think Monica can let me know if there is any question. So sometimes people have these things like, what is right view? How do we actually straighten our view? And dhamme avecca pasadena samannagato. And how do we have an unwavering confidence in the Dhamma? How do we have that? So agato imang saddhammang. How do we know when someone has actually come to the Dhamma? These are very, very interesting questions that many of us can have. What is right view? How do we straighten our view? And how do we have a full confidence in the Dhamma, that I have unshaken mind. I have mind unshaken in the Dhamma. I have no problem. I know exactly what I am supposed to do with the Dhamma. And also, how do I know that I have arrived at the true Dhamma? These are very valid questions that all of us can have. I think Venerable Sariputta starts with this brainstorm at the beginning of the sutta. Then the monks say, Venerable Sariputta actually is kind of having a dialogue with the monks. And then he asked the question from the monks. And then the monk said, Duratopiko mayang auso agacchayama ayasmato Sariputtas santike etas bhasitas attang anyatum. We have come from so far away just to hear Venerable Sariputta's, from Venerable Sariputta, the meaning of this. So, meaning of this statement, sadhu vata ayang ayasmantang eva Sariputtang patibhatu etassa bhasitassa atto. Sadhu means good. Okay, you also have learned this word so many times. You also practice this word a lot. So sadhu also means well, excellent. Also, when you say like you want to share something, you want to agree with something, you can use the word sadhu. Sadhu ata ayang ayasmantang eva sariputang patibhatu etasa bhasitasa atto. If Venerable Sariputta, if you can explain the meaning of this statement, that will be excellent, sadhu. That will be very nice. So it would be good if the Venerable Sariputta would explain the meaning of this statement. Then Venerable Sariputta says, Ayasmato Sariputtasya Sutva Bhikkhu Dhare Santiti. So the monks say, having heard it from the Venerable Sariputta, the monks will be able to learn it. They will be able to remember it. Dhareti means to learn by heart or to remember. So, tena hi also sunata. If that is the case, friends, listen to me. Sadhukang manasa karota. And then listen and pay close attention. Sadhukang is well, and manasi karota means pay attention or focus on that. Bhasi Sami, I'm going to tell that. I'm going to explain it to you. Evang avusoti kote bhikkhu ayasmato sariputtas paccaya sosam. Yes, friend, that those monks, te bhikkhu, those monks, ayasmato sariputtas paccaya sosam, they replied to Venerable Sariputta, ayasma sariputto etang avocha. Eta the vocha is a sandhi or the slur. So that means Venerable Sariputta said this. Okay. So this is the first topic of Sammādiṭṭhi. You need to maybe take a pen and paper, write down these things. This is very important to know. Yato ko avuso ariya savako akusalancha pajanati, akusala moolancha pajanati, kusalancha pajanati, kusala moolancha pajanati, ettavata avuso Arya Savako Sammādiṭṭhi hoti. Ujugatasa ditti dhamme aveccha pasadena samannagato agato imang saddhammang katamang panauso akusalang katamang akusala moolang katamang kusala moolang. So this we will discuss a little in detail because this is the first stage and this will be repeated later on, the same thing. So I can skip most of the part later on. But this one we are going to discuss little in detail. Yatoko also Ariya Savako. Ariya Savaka means the noble disciple. So the word Ariya also is explained as those disciples who have attained Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahanta, and Magga and Phala. They are called Atta Purisa Puggala or Ariya Puggala. Okay, they are also called Sekha and Asekha. Sekha is still a learner, like Sotapanna Magga Phala person, 2 persons, and then Sakadagami Magga Phala, 2 persons, Anagami Magga Phala, 2 persons, and Arahanta Magga. So these 7 Puggalas, 7 persons are called Arya Sekha Puggala. Okay, they are also called Arya. And then the other one is called Arahanta Phala person is called Aseka. He has nothing to learn anymore. He has already lived his spiritual life. He has completely abolished all forms of attachment. No more rebirth for him or her. Okay, so they are called Aseka Puggala or Arahanta. So Arahanta Phala person, they are all actually called Arya Savaka. All these people are called Arya Savaka. And Savaka means listener. And they have listened to the Buddha. And the Arhanta person also has the capacity to learn the Dhamma from the Buddha. Without the Buddha's help, they wouldn't be able to actually attain the enlightenment. So that is why they are called Arya Savaka. And Pacceka Buddha, for example, he can attain the enlightenment all by himself, that is self-enlightenment, but he wouldn't be able to teach the Dhamma to the others, like show the path to the others, just like the Samma Sambuddha do. So Samma Sambuddha is the most important stage. We do have in Theravada Buddhism, we call three bodhis: Arahanta Bodhi, Pacceka Bodhi, and Samma Sambuddhi. Samma Sambuddhi is the one who is self-enlightenment, and also he can show the path to his disciples. So the Arahanta people, they have they also can be enlightened, but they need the help of the Samma Sambuddha to get enlightened. So Arya Savaka means those noble listeners. And this noble listener or noble disciple learns or knows akusalang cha pajanati. Akusala also, he knows akusala. Janati means to know. When we have pajanati, it is little bit more than knowing. Maybe let's call it understanding or realizing or a little bit more. So pajanati. Akusalancha pajanati, he or she knows the unwholesome. And akusala moolancha pajanati, then also that person knows the root of the akusala moola, akusala or the unwholesome. Kusalancha pajanati, that person, Arya Savaka person, also knows the wholesome. And then kusala moolancha pajanati, this one actually should be cha, kusala moolancha. That means root of the kusala also is known to him or her. Ettavatapiko also Arya Savako Sammādiṭṭhi hote. This is one way of calling someone who's got Sammādiṭṭhi. So this is the first step. Okay. So even this one is good enough for someone to attain Nibbana. This Sammādiṭṭhi, knowing the kusala and the kusala mula, and the akusala mula, this alone is enough for someone to attain the Nibbana. To ujugata sahoditi, to straighten someone's view, and dhamme avecca pasadena samannagato, that means that maintaining that unshaken confidence in the Dhamma, and then agato iman saddhammang, that someone has come to the Dhamma, someone is in the real true Dhamma. Someone can, if someone can know these things, that person has the opportunity to have Sammādiṭṭhi. But not necessarily everyone. This can actually change from person to person, depends on person to person. That is why in the sutta there are many, many more steps as Sammādiṭṭhi. So it's very, very important for us to know all those steps. Khatamang panauso akusalang, then what is the akusala or what is the unwholesome? Khatamang akusala mulang, what is the root of the unwholesome? Khatamang kusalang, what is the wholesome? And then Khatamang kusala mulang, what is the root of the wholesome? These four things we need to remember. This is the first step. And then, okay, here we go with the steps. So the akusala and kusala are explained here. Pānātipato ko auso akusala mūlaṃ, adinnādānaṃ akusalaṃ, kāme, Pānātipato ko auso akusalaṃ, adinnādānaṃ akusalaṃ, kāmesu miccācāro akusalaṃ, musāvādo akusalaṃ, pisunāvācā akusalaṃ, parusāvācā akusalaṃ, sampappalāpa akusalaṃ, abhijjā akusalaṃ, vyāpādo akusalaṃ, micchādiṭṭhi akusalaṃ. So these are the 10. These are also called dasa akusala, or 10 unwholesome factors. So these things, to know these things in detail will be very helpful to all of us. And as you all know, this is already part of our 5 precepts. We have 5 precepts, but little more. And Pānātipato, adinnādānaṃ, kāmesu miccācāro, musāvādo, pisunāvācā, parusāvācā, sampappalāpo, abhijjā, vyāpādo, and then micchādiṭṭhi. These are the 10 dasa akusala, or 10 unwholesome things that we need to learn. So Pānātipāta, Pāna-atipāta means killing living beings. So when it comes to killing living beings, it can be related to any sentient being. Okay. So all men, all women, all humans, all non-humans, all animals, all these can be a part of it. And so Pānātipāta, all those people who, all those beings, sentient beings who breathe, they can be called living beings. And killing them would be a very, very bad, unwholesome action. Adinnādānaṃ. Adinnādānaṃ means adinna adana. So na dinna. Dinna means given. Adinna means not given. Adana means taking. Taking things not given. So taking what is not given, that one is akusalang, unwholesome. So the Buddha's teaching is respect others' life and respect others' property. Do not steal. Do not kill, do not steal. This is very, very useful for us to practice these things as part of our precepts. And then the third one is kāmesu miccācāra. Kāmesu means sensual pleasures, insensual pleasures. This is a Sattami Vibhatti Bahuvachana. If you are a Pali student, you already know that kāmesu. Kama is sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures can be related to the 5 senses, even 6 senses, like the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and even the mind. So, like satisfying these things can be in the wrong way, misconduct. Micchācāra means misconduct. So misconduct in sensual pleasure can be unwholesome. Let's say like you want to satisfy your eye, that is okay. You want to watch a movie or something, it's okay. But then it should not give opportunity to generate unwholesome karma. And let's say like you want to listen to music. Let's say you play music and you like it, but then you should not also allow to generate unwholesome karma because of that. Especially the lobha dosa moha, we will discuss a little later. And then also it should not disturb the other people around. Let's say like you are listening to music, that's fine, but you should not disturb the other people around. They should be disturbed sometimes if you play very loud music. Just a simple example. And here kāmesu miccācāra also can be called sexual misconduct. So this is mainly to do with the family life. So when we say miccāchāra, it is the sexual misconduct. That means you are interfering with other families. You are not respecting others' family life. So kāmesu miccāchāra is not respecting others' family life. Pānātipāta means not respecting others' life. Adinnādāna means you are not respecting others' property. Kāmesu miccāchāra means you are not respecting others' family life. Musāvādo akusalam. Musāvāda means falsehood, lying, and false speech or lying, telling lies. This can again be a very bad, unwholesome karma. Pisunavacha akusalang means malicious speech. You are trying to break the beautiful relationship between two friends. Maybe you are trying to say this and that to both sides, so that they feel like they don't feel good anymore. You can break apart a beautiful relationship of two friends. That is actually pisuna vacha. Parusa vacha is word. Parusa is harsh. So you can, if you use harsh words, it can hurt other people. So that is definitely unwholesome thing. If you can use one single word even, maybe that person will be heartbroken, and that person can lose his or her inner peace, and that person will be very upset, very sad, very restless for the rest of the day, maybe even for the rest of the life. So parusa vacha can also be a very, very grave, unwholesome karma. Sampapalapo akusalang. Sampapalapo means like gossiping, all kinds of gossiping, unnecessary speech. That is why in Buddhism we have something called noble silence. Noble silence is very important teaching in Buddhism, and therefore we can actually get rid of the unwholesome things. We can get rid of so many bad verbal actions if we keep noble silence. That will be really beautiful practice. Many Buddhist people, they love this noble silence. Actually what we call Muni also is a silent person. Even the Buddha, Shakya Muni, Buddha, he is known to be very fond of noble silence. When he visits other ashrams, other hermitages, those hermits, they would be very happy to welcome the Buddha and to listen to his wonderful Dhamma. And those ascetics would say, the Buddha is coming today, Shakyamuni Buddha is coming to our ashram today, so we should be silent, we should maintain noble silence, because he appreciates that. So noble silence is really a very powerful tool to get rid of the musavada, pisunavacha, parusavacha, and sampapalapa. And there are also something called 32 stories that you are not supposed to talk about, like Rajakatha, Chorakatha, etc. So about the politics, about the robberies and all kinds of things, especially at the temple, monastery atmosphere. When you are practicing spiritual path, these things can actually arouse unwholesome sentiments in you. So it's better to avoid those 32 stories. Abhijja means again covetousness. Abhijja is something like desire, but it is more than that, a more stronger version of that. Abhijja is an akusala, or an unwholesome thing. Unwholesome thing, abhijja, like you are desiring to own or possess other people's property, so other people's things. That way your urge is more. You already have something, but you want to take possessions of other people too. That's kind of very powerful mental. This is mental unwholesome thing. Vyapada is ill will, anger, the hatred. These things are again really big issues in our society even today. Anger is a big problem. I have also done a special Dhamma talk on anger management last time. Maybe you can have a look if you are interested in learning about some tips of some hacks of anger management. And then Michaditti, complete opposite of Sammādiṭṭhi. Michaditti is the wrong view. So false view. When you have the wrong view, as I mentioned, the whole journey can be different. Like, let's say you are driving a car and you're driving along with the navigation. You give the destination, the wrong destination. Your journey can be destination can be completely different. So Michaditti is something like that. And again, I want to say, like, these 10 unwholesome roots can be divided into three: kaya, vacha, and mano. The first, panatipata, adinnadana, kamesamichachara, first three can be called bodily actions. And musavada, pisunavacha, parusavacha, and sampapalapa, verbal actions. And then abhijja, vyapada, and michadittya, mental actions. So these are the three unwholesome, 10 unwholesome roots happen or occur through these three sense doors. So if we have a restraint, we have a discipline in these three sense doors, we can avoid all these 10 unwholesome roots. So Katamancha also akusala mulang. Now Venerable Sariputta explains the root of the akusala, lobho akusala mulang. The root of this unwholesome thing is lobha. One is lobha, greed. Doso akusala mulang, and the other one is anger, or dosa, or pollution of your mind, or like angry or ill will, that kind of a thing. So lobha, dosa, and moha, ignorance. These three are called root all unwholesome things. So actually, all unwholesome roots, it's very important to know these three unwholesome roots. One is lobha, and dosa, and moha. And these are, according to Abhidhamma, so these are the three unwholesome roots that we all can have. And we have to work on this little by little. And lobha is important to know, like you want to possess things, you want to own things, you want to have many things for yourself. And ever since we are born into this world, we try to accumulate things. Even as a little baby, you like toys, you like this and that, and then you want to own things. You don't want to share these things with the other. That is part of the lobha that we are actually generating from the very childhood. And then later when we grow, and then maybe our education, maybe our other possessions, also we want to accumulate. We want property, we want vehicles, so many, dressing, clothes, and so many things. And then later on, maybe you want titles, you want name and fame. All these things can be a part of lobha too. And those are, when you are lobha, you can actually recognize. It's a little bit easier. And when you are, of course, in angry mood, you can definitely learn that you are in angry mode. Dosa is the angry mode. This can also happen at any time. Any spur of the moment can lead us to dosa. So think of that if you have lobha. Think of that if you have dosa, or think of that if you have moha. And I'm telling you, lobha and dosa are easier to recognize, but moha would be so much difficult to recognize. This can fool you anytime, and you don't know how the moha or the ignorance or avidya can fool you all throughout your life. And it is one of the most difficult things to get rid of. And that is why avidya will be eliminated only when you become arahanta person. And that also as the last step, avidya. In the dasa sangyojanas, avidya comes last. So moha again is a really important thing that we have to be really, really mindful if you want to deal with the moha or the ignorance. I'll tell you, and I repeatedly explain this thing to many people. The Buddha said once, there are three massive structures in this world. One is the great earth, and then the great ocean, and then the great mountain. This let's call Mahameru mountain or Suneru Pabbata or Sineru Pabbata or something. These are the great mountains. These three massive structures maybe will take thousands and thousands of years, but eventually they will be gone without leaving a speck of trace. There will be nothing to be seen later on, maybe many thousands and thousands of years later. The whole ocean will be dried up. The whole mountain will be gone. And then even this whole massive structure called earth will be gone. Somehow, somewhere, nothing will be uh, remain. And even then the Buddha said, the moha will be with us. Even though those three massive structures be gone, the moha, the ignorance, the avidya will be still with us, fooling us and pretending to, give some happiness or satisfaction or whatever you call it, and your ego or whatever, the moha will be there all the time, pacifying you, all the time leading you to the samsara. That is exactly why we are in this samsara. So I must say, lobha, dosa, moha, please work on them. If you have lobha, practice dana. If you have dosa, practice metta. Okay, loving kindness. If you have moha, also practice bhavana. And also ask questions from the monks. Ask questions from your Dhamma teachers. That is one way of getting rid of moha. So you have to work on that. Every one of you, individually, you have to work on this. These are the three unwholesome roots that we all have to work on. Okay, so all those akusala things, these are the three roots that we all have to think of very seriously. Okay, I think we will finish this, at least this part. So katama chauso kusalang panatipata veramani kusalang adinnadana veramani kusalang kamesu michachara veramani kusalang musavada veramani kusalang pisunaya vachaya veramani kusalang parusaya vachaya veramani kusalang sampapalapa veramani kusalang anabhijja kusalang abhyapado kusalang Sammādiṭṭhi kusalam. Sammādiṭṭhi itself is a kusala. Now this is the opposite of those 10 unwholesome things, akusala karmas. These are called dasa kusala karma. So these these are the opposite as we mentioned. So I think you understand. If you have any question, we will give you a chance to ask questions. And then katamanchao, so kusala mulang. Now we also have the kusala mula. We learned about the akusala mula, and here we have the akusala mula, wholesome roots, alobha, adosa, and amoha. These are the opposite of lobha, dosa, moha. Okay? And yatoko also Arya Savako, evang akusalang pajanati, evang akusala mulang pajanati, evang kusalang pajanati. Evang kusala mulang pajanati, evang kusalang pajanati, evang kusala mulang pajanati. So sabbaso raganusayang pahaya, patighanusayang pahaya, pativino asmiti ditti mananusayang samuhanitva, avijjang pahaya, vijja mupadetva, ditteva dhamme dukkhasantang karoti. Dukkhasanta karo hoti. Okay, so so now the Arya Savaka, the noble disciple, evang akusalang pajanati, that Arya Savaka, the noble disciple, knows the unwholesome. He or she knows the root of the unwholesome, and he or she knows the wholesome, and also knows the root of the wholesome. So sabbaso raganusayang pahaya. So completely, entirely abandons the tendency to lust, raga. When you know this kusala, akusala and their roots, you will be able to completely abandon the tendency to raga. So sabbaso raganusayang pahaya, patighanusayang pahaya. Then raga, patiga is the ill will, and also asmimana, ditti, asmiti ditti, that means I am, the body or whatever you call it, this 5 aggregates, we call it I am. So you completely get rid of that wrong view, that conceit, that mana, that ego, I am. So that person should be able to get rid of that. Avijjang pahaya, having abandoned the avijja or the ignorance. Vijjang upadetva, then that person can arouse the true knowledge. Ditteva dhamme, in this very life itself, here itself, dukkha santa karo hoti, you can get rid of the dukkha or the suffering. Dukkhasa anta karo, you mean you can end the suffering. This is the first teaching of Sammādiṭṭhi. And also I want to say, like Ditteva Dhamme, the Nibbana is something to do with this life itself and not afterlife. Okay, Nibbana is not something that you attain afterlife. It is always within this life itself you achieve. That is something very different, I think, compared to many other different religious perspectives. Ettavata also Arya Savako Sammādiṭṭhi hoti ujugata ditti dhamme aveccha pasadena samannagato agato imang saddhammang. In that way, to a noble disciple is one of right way. That way he or she can be called Sammādiṭṭhi, and that way he or she can straighten the view. That way he or she can have that unshaken confidence in the Dhamma, and also that way you can call I'm in the right track. This is about the first step of the Sammādiṭṭhi. I think with that we conclude for today, and we will continue next time with the next week. And if you have any question, now is the time to ask.
Thank you, Bhante. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I have a question, Monica.
Yeah, please go ahead, Susan.
Bhante, so with moha, how can one know? Because delusion is invisible.
Yeah, so that's why you have to be, okay, one way of knowing is maybe if you don't know, you need to listen to Dhamma talks, one. And then you also need to have the good association of Kalyana Mitta friends, okay?
Yeah.
Then they can help you out. And also, if you have a question, you should ask, okay, whether I'm in that or not. This is also one way of getting rid of your you need to be in touch with those wonderful people. Even if you are not in the right path, if you have good kalyana with the friends, they will help you out. And then if you listen to Dhamma talks, also that will be very, very helpful to for you to now also when you listen to this short Dhamma talk, you already got to know something, right? So that's how we have to widen our Dhamma knowledge. That will help us. And then keep practicing and see if you have lobha or not. If you have lobha, just you can check yourself. Do I have that lobha with me? Do I have greed? Do I feel that desire? You can also testify yourself. Sometimes it can happen, like you want to offer something and you are like hesitant, that means you have the lobha, right? And then suddenly you may be like, you think you are not angry, I am very patient, but you will testify yourself sometimes suddenly, maybe even while driving you have anger, maybe even at the office you can have anger. You might say something harsh to other people, you can recognize, even without saying that. If you have that ill will in your mind, you should be able to recognize. One way of knowing is that wonderful tool called mindfulness. Mindfulness is really, really helpful too. And then we need the as we come to this topic, moha, the ignorance. The Buddha said in Chulla Kamma Vibhanga Sutta, I remember, the Buddha said, if you want to get rid of moha, if you want to improve your panya or wisdom, ask questions. Ask questions about the Dhamma. If whenever you meet a monk or a good Dhamma teacher, you ask questions. I noticed that some of the people, maybe because they are shy, maybe out of respect or whatever, they don't ask questions. And then you also think other people will ask, so I will listen. So you keep quiet. Then also your wisdom will not be improved. If you have a question, you have to ask. That is one way of improving your wisdom and getting rid of moha. Yes, important. Very important. We will discuss more about the moha later on, okay?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay.
Thank you. Actually, Susan asked my question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask, as you say, Bhante, moha or delusion is
Yeah.
really the most difficult,
Very difficult.
And I was interested in the relationship to mana,
Hmm.
can translate as conceit, and the sense of self,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you've kind of answered the question.
Yeah, like like some people can have mana because of their religion. Some people can have mana or ego because of their good looks, and because of their because of their wealth, because of their titles. I am a big fellow, and also because of your education, also because of meditation. You have to be also very careful.
Yes.
Even with the
Yes.
meditation, some people can have mana. That is why the mana will be eliminated in the arahanta level. So very, very difficult again. Yeah, but we have to be humble. That is why the Buddhist people, do you know Buddhist people like to sit on the floor? Because that is one way of eliminating mana. And people sit on the floor. Everyone same equal sit on the floor. And everyone where like practicing sila is one way of eliminating the mana, dealing with the mana. Very important again. So, uh, like people practice noble precepts and also simple lifestyle, and also wear some simple clothes. And also, even if you have the mana or ego, you don't talk, you practice noble silence, you practice patience, and all these are part of dealing with the the ego. Very important.
So Bhante, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
So for example, I'm working very hard to learn to chanting.
Okay.
But I'm also wondering, is that part of a mana? Is that also my loba? Is that delusion? Am I
No. See,
delusion to want to learn chanting so
okay,
much?
okay. Let me tell you how to recognize if it is a bad karma. Does it generate loba, dosa, or moha in you when you really want to learn something? Chanting, does it generate loba?
No,
No.
it doesn't.
Does it generate anger?
No, the
No.
opposite. It
But
generates the master.
but remember, like let's say like you are practicing so hard to pronounce and you can do it and you feel like frustrated, you get angry, nobody's helping me, and I'm like if that is the case, then you have to be careful too. So it should not arouse anger, greed, or delusion. And you also know this is very helpful to me to bring peace to myself, and also it calms down, and it's a blessing. You know that you have that good understanding. And so if you don't have any of those unwholesome roots generating all those unwholesome roots, you are fine, you're good to go. Okay. And any of these things you can actually put them into this basket and see, look, you can match with those shoes, and then you can see if you have loba, dosa, or moha. If you have it, then you have to work on that.
Makes sense. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, any other question?
But just continuing on from there, Bhante, if say Sister Susan asks for help, say, and then the person who helps her, the intention is very important, isn't it? So if someone asks me for help, then I feel good, and it appeals to the ego, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so it kind of, I find it fascinating how one, for lack of a better word, one concept leads to another, and everything is related, right? It's like so moha, delusion, deluding myself, and so on. Then it leads to conceit, and then conceit leads to, and so on and so forth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like even when someone asks for a help, you can see whether you have the loba, dosa, or moha. Sometimes people get angry. Oh, why is that person asking me so many? Like, if you feel happy, if you feel compassionate, and if you feel confident, peaceful, and that so much the better. You have to also testify yourself all the time. These are some of the challenges in our day-to-day practical life. It can happen in your office, in your home, or wherever you are. It can happen to you. Even at your temple, with your temple community, it can happen. Sometimes the greed, anger delusion can happen. So be careful, be mindful if you have something like that.
Yeah, I think that's very helpful, Bhante.
Yes.
Going back to mindfulness, it's like little steps in our daily life. Like every single thing or every decision that I make, I just ask myself, or just simple questions, right? Just go through loba, well, they're not simple, but loba, dosa, moha.
Yes.
Why am I doing this? What are my intentions and so on?
Very true.
You
Because
know?
in our practical life, we don't know how it happens. Like things can go wrong anytime, you know. Suddenly, you know, someone says something and you feel very upset about that. And then you
Yep.
have to be mindful. Oh, am I in the right path? Am I losing my temper? Am I losing my patience? Am I getting angry? Am I, you know, being misled? One way of, I'll tell you a secret. One way of dealing with all these things is practicing bhavana, practicing meditation. Because when you practice meditation, you're bodily and verbally and mentally peaceful. And it is also called uddhacha, right? Like the restlessness. When you are restless, you cannot take the right decision. When you are calm, when you are peaceful, then you take the right decision. And if you continuously practice meditation, it helps you calm down all the time. Even if you are in a very panic situation, you know you take the right decision. And that is thanks to your continuous meditation. So I encourage everyone to practice meditation continuously. And if you have something to do with your anger, if you have losing temper all the time, practice loving kindness. Okay, again, a hack for loving kindness meditation is keep sending loving kindness to every sentient being all the time. Well, let's say you are sitting next to your enemy, someone who is not angry, happy with you. Send loving kindness to that person, because you might also be having that bad vibe, right? When you are sitting next to that person, or in your office, maybe at home, maybe wherever you are, that you see someone who is not comfortable with you, you feel really like some uncomfortable sensation you have, then send the loving kindness to that person. Then you will be fine. This is really, really helpful, and I know it really works. Very, very effective way of dealing with those people. And then all the time you say you pray for that person. May that person get the best food, best clothes, get all the comfort, whatever he or she wants. You just pray that way, well wish that person, so much the better. You feel so light-hearted. You feel your heavy headedness be gone. Your that tension, pressure, depression, all will be gone. You will be so happy, peaceful all the time. So it doesn't really. So every time you see someone, you drive, you just send loving kindness to all the drivers around. And if you work in your workplace, even before entering the office, you send loving kindness to all of those people. Make it a habit. It really works. And you feel so calm, and the other people also will notice your vibration. You, whatever you do, you feel good too, and your positive thinking, your happiness, your inner peace, all these things will be really, really powerful in with your practice. Continuously practice loving kindness every time. When you wake up suddenly, oh, I am so happy, I'm alive. And then send loving kindness to your husband, wife, children at your home, and also the neighbors. May they all be well, happy, healthy. Just keep saying in your mind, murmuring in your mind. Make it a habit. That will be so wonderful.
Ante, so when you say keep murmuring in your mind, do we like chant in our mind, Sukino wa kemino hontu sabbe satta bhavantu sukitata? Do we
You
say
can say
that?
that. You can say that. The most important thing is don't say it in a hurry, rush. Just take your time, and that should also calm you down. Like Sukino Akemino Hontu Sabbe Tatta Bhavantu Sukitatta. Maybe make sure it helps you calm down. It helps you smooth your process. That way it will be really really helpful to you.
So with your answer, I think I realized my deep desire to learn how to chant the sutta is not a moha, because that's what I want to do, to be able to quickly chant in my head when things are not going well.
Yeah, the chanting should be healing, I guess, and
Yeah, yeah, I
but it should
realized that.
not. Remember, like some chantings can also arouse maybe raga dosa moha. It should not be like that. It should actually bring peace, happiness. That's okay, but not arouse anger. Not some chantings can arouse anger too.
Really? Like which type? Which
Chanting
What?
one?
can arouse raga too. So be careful about that too.
Which type? Which chanting could do that?
I mean,
Can we
it is
know that?
chanting. It depends on how you do it, how you respond to that too. And
Maybe
there,
not, maybe, sorry, Bante, to interrupt. Maybe not anger, but I've listened to chants like with music and so on, and it actually is very, very pleasing to the ear and all that. And sometimes I ask myself, is this actually the way it should go?
yeah,
I don't know what I mean.
it
It's just like
will
appealing to your senses.
yeah, it will work for
Mm.
some to calm down. Okay, chanting is really helpful to calm down, especially when you are overwhelmed with emotions. If you are weak, especially the chantings really helps. Your intelligence doesn't work that time when you are angry.
Yeah,
So
I
chanting
agree.
can
So
bring you.
many times this experience, and I want to acknowledge Sister Savita. She's teaching me chanting. Sadhu, 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 Sister Savita.
Sadhu. Mm.
All right. So,
Okay.
okay. Do we have any more questions, or should we stop here for today?
I think we can wrap up this.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May I now invite Bante Sumita, please, to share merits and to close our class for today. Bante.
Thank you everyone for joining us today with this Sutta Study Series, and we just started about one way of getting Sammādiṭṭhi for us, a right view, and hopefully we will be able to learn much more about Sammādiṭṭhi later on. Please join us next week again at the same time, and may this blessing be helpful to all of you. May this teaching be helpful to all of you. May you be well, happy and healthy by the power of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, by the blessings of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and also by the merit that we all have accrued within our lifetime and also within our samsara. By practicing all the dana, sila, bhavana, we have generated so much good merits. By the power of that, may you be well, happy, healthy, and safe wherever you are. If you have any illness, if any discomfort, may that be gone. May you feel good health and longevity and peace and happiness all throughout your life. May no harm come to you from water, fire, air. May you be and your family, your loved ones, your parents, your husband, your wife, your children, your siblings, your teachers, elders, your neighbors, friends, and all the community members, and everyone in your country, everyone in the world be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem. May all of them be well, happy, healthy, and safe wherever they are, especially those people who are suffering immensely due to these unceasing waves of corona virus or COVID-19. May the world be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem. Please join us with our Ratana Sutta chanting sometimes to bring peace and healing to the world for world peace. And let us also share this merit with all the devas and other beings, and especially our departed ones. Please think of all your departed ones, maybe your wonderful parents who passed away, and your family members, whosoever, your friends, relatives, neighbors, whosoever. If you know, if you remember some, let us share this merit with all of them. May they all receive this merit, share this merit, be well, happy, healthy, safe wherever they are. May they be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all of us and may all of them be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinassato mate bhavattvantarayo sukhe digayuko bhava bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghanubhavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te Abhivadana Silissa Niccang Vaddha Pachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vaddhanti Ayuvanno Sukhang Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samijjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week. And thank you very much, Bante.
Thank you, Bante. Turuan Saranai, Bante. Turuan Saranai.
Everyone, Saranai.